Did you know the first Sub-Saharan African team to ever play at the FIFA World Cup suffered a 9-0 defeat that still haunts the continent? In 1974, Zaire, now known as the Democratic Republic of Congo, made history by qualifying for the World Cup in West Germany. But what unfolded on the pitch was far more than just football. It was a political disaster, a global humiliation, and a warning about what happens when football becomes a pawn of dictatorship. Let's rewind. Zaire had just won the 1974 African Cup of Nations and were Africa's rising giants. Led by legendary players like Mulamba and coached by Yugoslavian coach Blagoje Vidic, they had dazzled the continent. Their reward, a ticket to the world stage, the first Sub-Saharan African side to ever qualify. But behind the scenes, the team was under the iron grip of dictator Mobutu Sese Seko. Mobutu saw the World Cup not as sport, but as propaganda. He funded the team lavishly, renamed the country from Congo to Zaire, and demanded that the leopards make Africa proud. They arrived in Germany in style, new kits, national pride, a whole continent watching. But they weren't prepared for what awaited. In their first match, they faced Scotland. The result, 2-0 loss. Not terrible, but not impressive either. Then came the second game, Zaire versus Yugoslavia. A total collapse. Zaire lost 9-0. To this day, it's one of the worst defeats in World Cup history. The players looked broken, confused, unmotivated. Fans across Africa were shocked, but very few knew what was really happening. After the first match, Mobutu reportedly cut off the players' payments. He accused them of embarrassing the nation. He warned them, return home with disgrace, and face the consequences. The players were terrified. Some even claimed they were threatened with death if they lost too badly again. That explains what happened next. In the third match against Brazil, something bizarre happened. Brazil earned a free kick. As the referee blew the whistle, Zaire defender Mwepu Ilunga broke from the wall and kicked the ball away before it was taken. The world laughed. Commentators mocked him. But it wasn't ignorance. It was desperation. It was protest. A silent scream on the biggest stage in football. Ilunga would later reveal he knew exactly what he was doing. He hoped to get sent off so he could escape the pressure and punishment. But the ref only gave him a yellow. Brazil won 3-0. Zaire left the tournament goalless and defeated. But their story was far more complex than the scoreboard. It was about pride crushed under dictatorship, dreams hijacked by politics, a team abandoned by its government and laughed at by the world. When the players returned to Zaire, they were punished, shamed, and then forgotten. Many of them lived in poverty. Some died in silence. They had made history, but paid the price. And yet, they opened the door. Zaire's World Cup appearance may have ended in disaster, but it sparked a fire. It showed that African nations could qualify, that they belonged. 4 years later, Tunisia made it, then Algeria, then Cameroon. And by the 1990s, African teams were toppling giants. But it all began with Zaire. The tragedy, the humiliation, the courage. Today, we must remember the players not for their loss, but for their bravery. They stood on the world stage when no one else had. They faced power, pressure, and pain just to wear their nation's colors. Zaire 1974 wasn't a failure. It was a warning, a sacrifice, and the beginning of Africa's journey on football's biggest stage. Subscribe for more untold stories of African football. Like the video, share the history, because the pitch remembers, even if the world forgets.